Hello and welcome to the 12th and final day of my 12/12 birthday countdown. I am truly grateful for you being here and continuing on this journey with me. Hopefully, you've had a chance to review all of the videos leading up to this day. If not, go ahead and check those out. If you have been following along each day, I just want to acknowledge you and thank you for being on this journey with me. The 12th and final hard truth that I'm sharing in this series is about speaking life into others. What I mean by that is, I am a firm believer in the impact of words. This is no surprise, right? I talk a lot about affirmations. I've shared in previous series about just being mindful of my words and how my words have an impact on those around me, as well as an impact on myself. And I feel like this series would not be complete if I didn't touch on that. With today's hard truth being about speaking life, I hope to share a little bit more insight as to how I came to this understanding of the power of words, because this is not something that I have always lived by. Just like a lot of the things I've mentioned throughout the series, what I've shared are realizations that came to me in the last decade. And this case is no different. So when I turned 30, I specifically remember having a conversation about affirmations, which at the time I did not know much about. I was aware of the concept, but had never utilized them for myself. So I was having a conversation with someone, and they actually recommended that I explore affirmations and gave me 7 specific affirmations to say to myself every single day. I was a little unsure about it, but because I trusted the person, I decided to give it a try. I had my 7 affirmations, and each day I would say a different one. I did this for weeks. At the time, I was in a phase mentally where there was a lot of uncertainty. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go next. I was feeling unhappy about my work situation, and I needed some direction. So this person recommended affirmations to help with shifting my mindset, because I was just feeling blocked at that moment. And so I will admit, the first few weeks felt a little weird because I wasn't used to saying affirmations out loud to myself. I was like, all right, I'm not sure if it's really going to work, but I'm going to do it and see how it goes. But after maybe the 4th or 5th week, I started to notice a shift where I just felt a little bit lighter, and I was able to make decisions a little bit more quickly and clearly. And because of that, I continued to do the affirmations on a daily basis for, I want to say it was about 2 months that I did them consistently. So about 8 weeks that I just said these 7 affirmations over and over again. By the end of it, I just felt like a very different person that I did before I started the affirmations. And they weren't particularly complex. They were very basic affirmations. But because I put in the effort to say them each day for those 8 weeks, I feel like that is what had the impact on me. Once I realized that shift, I really started to do more research on the concept of affirmations and how they can impact our lives. And so once I understood, I became that much more interested in utilizing affirmations. Now it's one of the things I talk about all the time. It also helped me understand that I have to be mindful of not only what I'm saying to myself, but also what I'm saying to other people. Our words have an impact on what we say to ourselves about ourselves. They also have an impact on those around us. And I feel like that's something that I wasn't always aware of, but once I fully dove into mindfulness and affirmations, I became much more attentive to what I say and how I say it, especially if I know it's going to have an impact on those around me. In previous videos, I've talked about how when we are talking about ourselves, we have to be careful about what we're saying, especially if it's something negative. Instead of saying I'm bad at something, I recommend shifting it to I'm working on improving this particular thing. By constantly saying that we're bad at something, we're programming our brain. And so let's say if someone was to say, I am terrible at managing money. And then by saying that consistently, that person will become even worse about managing money because they're conditioning their brain when they're repeating those statements over and over. And so the way to get around that is to basically talk about what you're trying to improve upon so that the emphasis is more on the improvement and not so much on the lack, right? And so that's something that I've talked about in previous videos. I still believe and practice that today. And so the same is true when it comes to talking to other people. If you think about with parents, right? If a parent tells their child the same thing over and over again, that child is essentially getting conditioned to believe that thing that the parent is saying. For example, if a parent is telling a child, you're messy, the child is going to internalize, I'm messy, and that's just going to cause them to continue that pattern. If that parent decided to change that statement to make it more positive, then that might condition the child to actually make a change. And so the same is true when we are talking to anyone. It could be a child, it could be a friend, it could be a colleague. For me personally, I feel like I'm at the point now where my intention is to always speak life into others. Being mindful of not only what I'm saying, but also how I'm saying it so that it's received in a way that is actually helpful to them and not putting them down or making them feel worse about themselves. And so even when working with my clients, I am very conscientious of how I identify the issues we're working through so that I don't continue that pattern of negative thinking. I talked about this on my podcast where instead of saying, you need to do this, you need to make this change, I always reframe it to say, how can we improve this? How can we work on this? So that it doesn't put the other person down and helps them to understand that they're not alone in the process. When it comes to speaking life into others, it all goes back to being the type of person that I am who wants to be supportive, who wants to help others. At the end of the day, I want to make sure that what I'm saying is actually going to benefit them in some way, shape, or form. In order to do so, I need to be mindful of my own words and the impact that they can have on those that I'm speaking to. So even when I'm doing these videos, I am conscientious of what I'm saying so that you're either exposed to a different perspective or prompted to look at things. That's my way of speaking life into all of you. Ending the series on this particular hard truth was very fitting because at the end of the day, speaking life into others is so important, especially in this current world that we live in, where there's a lot of conflict. There is a lot of disconnect and disruption because of things that are happening externally. Rather than contributing to the noise that's currently existing, I'd much rather provide a little bit more light and positivity. I hope that that's being received by all of you watching these videos, and I hope these are helpful because this is my contribution to the world. Whenever I do this series, it's always a lot of work, but part of the reason why I do this series is it's an opportunity for me to reflect. And I appreciate that I have this platform. When I do these videos, I'm hoping that what I am sharing actually resonates with those of you watching. If something did resonate with you in any of the videos that I posted, please let me know. I would love to continue the conversation beyond this video. Thank you so much for counting down my birthday. Today is my birthday, so if you can wish me a happy birthday in the comments, I would truly appreciate that. Thank you again for being here and engaging with my content, and hopefully I'll see you again next year for my next 12/12 countdown. See ya.